Dominique Galbraith here. Hope you're well. Like, subscribe, share. You know the things, do the things. We're going to get straight into it. We're going to see, once again, who's lying. And unfortunately, it's the same team. But let's get into it. Let's look at the receipts.
But as I read the Minnesota law that you signed into law, the statute that you signed into law, it says that a doctor who presides over an abortion where the baby survives, the doctor is under no obligation to provide life-saving care to a baby who survives a botched late-term abortion. That is, I think, whether you're pro-choice or pro-abortion, that is fundamentally barbaric. And that's why I use that word, Nora, is because some of what we've seen.
We see Tim Walz shaking his head, that's not true, that's not true. Let's go to the bill. The original law that was written in 1976, right? It says this. This is section 145.423, public health abortion live births, okay? Subdivision 1 says, a live child born as a result of an abortion shall be fully recognized as a human person. Now that should go without saying, but and accorded immediate protection under the law. All reasonable measures consistent with good medical practice, including the compilation of appropriate medical records, shall be taken to preserve the life and the health of the child. So here we have a law that was put in place in 1976 to make sure that, hey, perform an abortion and the abortion fails and the baby is born alive, praise God, you have to preserve the life of that child that you just tried to kill. So now remember, Tim Walz was just shaking his head. That's not true. That's not true. Because J.D. Vance was telling the business, was telling the American people the business. Let's see who's lying. So this is from Office of the Reviser of Statutes. This is a Minnesota government website, right? It's a really long bill that deals mostly with healthcare in Minnesota, right? Here at the top, you see it says language to be deleted. Right? Whatever you see a line through, that's not the law anymore, right? Whatever you see underlined is the new law. Okay. So it says this, section 145.423, subdivision 1. It's the same law, right? It was changed a few times, but this is the most significant change. And this is what J.D. Vance is talking about. I'm about to read it to you. Subdivision 1, a born alive, they crossed it out. They crossed it out. This is no longer about a child born after a failed abortion. This is about a child who was wanted. Because I guess when you want the child, it's a human. And when you don't want the child, it's something else. So they changed it, which removes protection for a child that is born after a failed abortion. An infant as a result of an abortion who is born alive shall be fully recognized as a human person. Yeah, obviously, yeah. And accorded immediate protection under the law, of course. All reasonable measures consistent with good medical practice, you see, it's the same law. They took out two key parts. Born alive and as a result of an abortion. So it says, including the compilation of appropriate medical records shall be taken by the responsible medical personnel to preserve the life and health of the born alive infant. Crossed out. That part is crossed out. What's crossed out? Preserve the life and health of the born alive infant. But they replaced it with care for the infant who is born alive. That matters because, again, they crossed out as a result of an abortion. I believe that they want to remove protections from babies that are born alive after a failed abortion and why they blocked that federal bill that protects babies that are born after a failed abortion, I believe, this is just my theory, that the abortion industry makes more money from the sale of those babies' body parts the older they are and the bigger and more developed they are. Check out this clip.
And so now every time I do a DNA, I'm like, oh, there's some lung.
Yeah, you already know.
Other days it's like more intact, where it's like maybe only like an arm that's
I would imagine.
I'm like, yeah, I have like a leg for you. I'm like, oh shit. If other people were to hear me, they'd be like, you're a
This is the second video that I'm doing, and I'm not the only one that's exposing the truth, that they are lying, especially when it comes to late-term abortion and infanticide. They are lying. They're lying because they want to make Trump look like a madman. That's one reason. Another reason that they're lying is because they want to pacify you. They are trying to pacify you by saying, oh, it doesn't happen. Oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, he's a madman. They're trying to pacify you. And then when there's proof that it's true, their next ploy, their next trick is to tell you, oh, it's rare. It rarely happens. That's the excuse that they use to deny the Born Alive bill, to not vote for it because, oh, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Or that's rare. Let me tell you something. If it's one baby, if it's one time that it happens, that baby is worth saving because it's a baby. It's a human being. And any human being with a heart, with any type of integrity, would do everything they can to preserve the life of that innocent child. And the fact that they don't think, even in a rare situation, that that baby deserves protection should tell you all you need to know about these people. There's one thing that I realize when it comes to politics and the anger and the responses that I get when people find out that I'm voting for Trump and I'm not rocking with the Democrats. I'm not a Democrat anymore. The overwhelming response is, one, it's anger, which is strange. Because if you tell me you're a Democrat, I'm not going to lash out at you. I'm not going to curse you out. I'm not going to treat you like you're public enemy number one. So that in itself is weird. But the other thing that's strange is that oftentimes the responses, they're either fear-based, like, oh, they're coming for our rights. Oh, they're coming for our rights. The other side is trying to come for our rights. Or they're trying to kill black people. They're going to wipe us out from the earth. Meanwhile, the abortion industry, which is genocide, has taken out over 20 million babies. Who's really trying to take you out? What I noticed with people who get really angry and offended that I'm not a Democrat is that I keep seeing this recurring response. Aside from the fear, aside from the, oh, it's my body, it's my choice, and women's rights somehow is the most important thing, even though the country is falling apart. Where I see this pattern is this fear concerning money, this fear concerning public benefits, this fear concerning Social Security, this fear surrounding provision connected to the government. You see, we're no different than the nations that were sacrificing their children to Baal. They were sacrificing their children to Baal. Baal was the god of weather. They were sacrificing their children to Baal because they wanted rain. Why did they want rain? They wanted rain for their crops. That's how they ate, and that's how they made their money. We're no different because we are turning a blind eye to what is happening in this nation as it relates to abortion, as it relates to the agenda being pushed on our children. We are turning a blind eye to that. We're saying we don't care because we are worried about our own provision. Here's the demonic catch with that. A nation that sacrifices their children for provision or for any reason, you lose both. It's no wonder inflation is what it is. It's no wonder the economy is what it is. It's no wonder we're on the brink of food shortages because we are giving our children over to Baal. We are sacrificing our children on the altar of provision. You may not be the one going to the abortion clinic. You may not even personally, I hear this from so many Christians, oh, I don't personally agree with having an abortion, but you co-sign my body, my choice, which is a demonic mantra. It sounds good, but everything that sounds good is not God. You co-sign Baal worship with your vote. You don't have to step into the abortion clinic to support the demonic agenda. We are no different. This nation is no different, and we need to repent. Lord, have mercy on us. Before I close out, listen, I want to invite you to partner with me to make more content like what you're watching. I do a variety of things, one of them being fashion design. I'm also a faith-based business consultant. I also work with my husband in our media production and marketing company. So I do a lot besides creating content. The reason why I do these videos is because God has compelled me to do them, right? There's been so many promptings and so much prophetic confirmation that this is something that God has called me to do. And honestly, I have a righteous indignation for the things that I'm speaking about. And one of the things that woke me up is that I started to research, I started to recognize the bias in the media, and I'm like, they're lying to me. Why are they lying to me? And so I started to do my own research. I started to listen to voices that are not mainstream, right? And so as I started to learn and do the research on my own and started to come into what is really happening behind the scenes in politics and the economy, I'm just like, I need to share this information, right? And again, that's something that God has led me to do. And so I want to invite you to partner with me to create more content like this. And there's a variety of ways that you can partner with me. You can volunteer, right? Like, I need help editing. I need help researching. Like, it does take some time to look up the bills, look up the different sources of information to find videos. Like, that can be a lot because I ain't gonna talk about YouTube on their platform, but if you know, you know, right? So that takes time, you know. So aside from entrepreneurship, I am a wife and a mother. I got 3 kids, okay? But again, I believe that this work is good work. So if you want to volunteer in helping me do the research, in helping me edit, in helping me with graphics, I greatly appreciate the help, right? But you got to be good at those things, right? So yeah, so volunteer, that's one way you can partner with me. Another way you can partner with me is donating. There's a link in the description. You can donate whatever you feel moved in your heart to donate. That will be greatly appreciated. The money will go towards paying an editor, if I don't get volunteers, right? Paying editors, paying graphic designers. Eventually, I'd like to do interviews and just go more in depth with content, and of course, create more content, right? And also, your support will go towards our other channel, which is geared towards families and children, which is my children's YouTube channel, where they do Bible studies and we share our journey as a family and our adventures. So the goal of these platforms is not just to talk about politics. As some of you may know, I also do Bible studies on here. So the real goal of the things that I do, the content that I'm creating, is really to empower families spiritually, financially, in every way possible through content. So the third way you can support is to subscribe to the channel, share the content, encourage other people to subscribe. That's another way you can support. So you can support by volunteering, by donating, or simply just subscribing, right? Another way, last but not least, probably the most important way, is really to pray for me. Pray for this platform, pray for the work that God has called me to do. And if you decide to donate, you are sowing into good ground. This is good ground. I believe that God is using me to do a good work because the truth matters, right? We know that in the Bible, it talks about the end time deception. And so another reason, perhaps the main reason why I do this, is so that people aren't led into destruction, right? This stuff that I'm talking about, it matters because people are yielding to their politics and turning from the faith because of their political belief. And they're doing that because of the gross darkness, because of the deception. If you want to donate, you're not going to get a tax deduction. However, you are sowing into good ground. And so, hey, you might not be able to get a tax deduction, but you will be blessed. I believe in sowing and reaping, and I believe that God will reward your donation. So, yeah. Until next time, y'all pray for me, support if you can, if you feel led to, and I'll see you next time.